Alright guys, I've got the system in the new black case, and I've got it hooked up to one of the monitors that's upstairs where we keep the LAN rigs pretty much, and the new keyboards and mice and stuff that we got for the LAN. And I got it all hooked up, and I'm going to fire it up for the first time just to see if it's working. It may not work at all if those memory chips are bad, but those memory chips are supposed to be good. I've got one stick in there right now, and I'm going to go ahead and just boot it up and see if it boots on into Windows and everything, and if everything's running, might test the CD-ROM a little bit, and then I'll probably reboot, and I'll have to connect the floppy up temporarily because I want to run some mem tests on these sticks of RAM. That one is an untested stick that I got in a lot here recently, and I want to test all the others in that case of RAM over there. I want to get it all tested, and then I'll probably hook up some of those other CD-ROM drives and test them. I won't show all that on here, but mainly we just want to see if this system's running. All the guts are exactly the same, as long as I haven't made any mistakes connecting stuff up and nothing's been damaged during the process of switching out cases. Should work just fine. But we've got the monitor on right now. Power a little wireless mouse up here, and we've got the receiver for it plugged in already. It's one of the little nano receivers. I love these things. They're great for laptops. That's what they're made for, but even for these LAN rigs, they work pretty good if you ask me. We're going to go ahead and come around here and fire it up. Nice blue light around the power light. Uh-oh. That's an error beep. And we've got a flashing, let's see. Okay, that light's the hard drive access. It just came on momentarily, but right now we've got a major error. You hear that beep? That's coming from this wire here that connects to the internal speaker I told you about, and that's a beep code. And that's telling you that there is an error either with the processor, the RAM, the video, or something like that. And we're going to have to figure out what that is. We've got the Ward BIOS in here, and that's my telephone. But the Ward BIOS, we're going to have to look up that beep code. It's one long beep all by itself, and probably the easiest way is to get on the net and look up the list of award beep codes for errors, and we'll find out if that refers to RAM or the processor or the video card. I'd almost think that it's the memory. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and turn the system off. Hold it in for 3 seconds. We'll go ahead and turn that off. Disconnect the plug from the power supply. Most ATX power supplies have a secondary switch. These don't, which that's perfectly fine with me. Just unplug them if I'm doing anything like this. Sometimes you leave those things off and you're like, what's wrong with the system? I can't power them on. But just my thoughts are there might be something wrong with that stick of RAM, and this motherboard is supposed to support PC100 or PC133. It's supposed to be PC133 RAM, and somebody keeps messaging me probably about the LAN party that's coming up. But I'm going to go ahead and take this stick of RAM out. I've touched the chassis here to kind of dissipate any type of a static discharge that might come off my body. I'm going to go ahead and pop this stick of RAM out. Just press down on the lever on each end carefully, and this AGP card on this one is very close. You can't hardly release the levers completely, but that should be loose enough. Reach in, touch the edges of the memory chip, and pull straight out, just like I'm holding on the edges. That's the safest way to protect these, but I'm just going to set it here for the moment, and I'm going to go ahead and take another chip out of the same package and just place it in there, and if it comes up, then it was probably the memory. And if not, I'll replace that chip with one of the original 2 chips, which I have conveniently over here. Those are the 2 original ones that were in there. Those are PC100, still 128 meg modules. And I know those work because they came right out of the machine. I just wanted to go up to PC133 for just the reason that I have the whole set, and that's what they are. But let's go ahead and These are some odd sticks that he gives me with these. There's actually 3 of them. I showed 2 earlier. The third one was in the package here. These are all identical. There may be a possibility that the reason he got rid of all these were they were incompatible with a lot of systems, and that could be the case with this. But they could be dead. But he told me as far as he knew they came out of working systems. But like I say, I got a killer deal, $7 for the entire box, and I just went and picked it up from the guy. But we're going to go ahead and make sure that you line up. These have 2 notches. This old RAM, PC133 and PC100, there's 2 notches, and you can't install it wrong, it just won't let you. And I put a finger and a thumb on each end and mash straight down, one end at a time, not both ends at the same time. I'll do the index finger first. Sometimes they'll click. That one just went kind of quietly, and the lower one, slight click, you probably didn't hear it, but that's seated in, and you can just give a little tug on the lever on each end to just kind of, my finger won't fit back there, just make sure it's seated well. And we'll try to boot it up again. Let's reconnect the power. Okay, got that connected, everything's back in place. Let's go ahead and turn her back on. Same error code. Exact same error code. These particular motherboards, I know the AGP slot, the video card, sometimes it's like it's a tight fit. You go to push it in and it's like the back plate feels like it wants to extend like another 32nd of an inch out of the case. It's just, that's how tight it is. And I've thought that when these cards snap in place, sometimes the contacts are a little too far that way, a little too far to the right, and they may be not contacting perfectly like they're supposed to. But this seated in very tightly once I got it in and put the screw in. I felt like it was seated in there properly. So it's either the CPU, the video card, or the memory still. I'm going to turn the system off. Hold it 3 seconds. Some of your older systems, you just press a button and it turns off. These are momentary switches, and most of these new models, I think some BIOSes are different, but you can set it for power off, suspend, stuff like that. But to turn it off, I always set mine to power off in the BIOS. Usually you have to hold it 3 seconds and then it powers down. But let's go ahead and get this chip out of here. Disconnect the power cord again. And there's a little trick some people use just to make sure that the power is not sitting in the motherboard a little bit, that might have been left after you disconnected the AC power cord. Just to flush any power out of the system, they act like they're going to turn it on again, and they just go to press the power button, and you actually will see the light sometimes flicker in the front. Okay, it didn't do it on this one. Sometimes you'll see the power light, like this has a light around it, like a halo light, and it might flicker for a split second, and that lets you know that there was some power in this board, possibly in some capacitors, and it tried to start the board and it wasn't enough, so it just kind of flushed the power out of the system. And that may keep you from messing up a card if you go to swap out a card, and when you go to press the contacts in place, maybe you get a voltage to a pin you're not supposed to, or something like that. Or you drop a screwdriver and it touches 2 metal parts together and there was voltage on one metal trace or one pin or something, and it touched something and grounded out, and it could mess up a part. But usually if you just let it sit for 20 seconds or so, the power's already dissipated. But that's just a secondary precaution you can take if you want to. And if you do that and your power supply has the switch on the back to cut it on and off, you probably want to make sure the switch is on, and then disconnect the cable and then come up here and press the button. That way any residual power that's left in any of those capacitors in the power supply or whatever is probably flushed out, you know. That's how I think about it, but I don't always do that. I usually let the system set for just a little bit, and then I go ahead and pull the option cards out and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll come back and tell you what the result is, what I figured out, because battery power is getting low anyway on this, and I'm going to have to swap batteries.